can access, so you can actually, do stuff properly. Yeah, the project is entirely inside of plugins. The only things that the actual, it's like the project settings. Alright, it's like, why is my keyboard not working? It's like, oh yeah, because my controller's got the input mapping. It didn't fucking run it. Alright. Notifying that admin status has changed. So it does get called. Alright, and we can kick the bots. Are you sure you want to kick? Checking user bot against bot 0, found this actor. But it's not letting me kick him? Alright, well. Login info, server admin status is admin. Alright, so I should be able to reload my UI. And then I should be able to directly join my server that's still running. No, you can't do that because reasons. Unreal does not support running stuff locally too well. Well, we're doing both. We're allowing, we have, like right now, the game that's live. It's easier just to show it. This is the live game that we've got right now. We've got it so there are a certain number of dedicated servers that are always available and online. So those are all out there working dedicated. You can also host your own game. So you can host the game and change all the settings and everything like that. So it's both listen and dedicated, and so you can do all of it. Yeah, we want, it's kind of twofold. We like to be able to have dedicated servers because they're much better performance, and we want people to be able to host their own servers because if we're offline or whatever, they can still play and they can customize their options. They might have a better setup, like, they've got a LAN party going on, hit the server right next to you, sort of stuff. Admin status has changed. Server admin status is not getting run. Is it very difficult to set up the listen server end? If you're running Unreal, by default, it's a listen server. And a TCP IP listen server style, well, it uses UDP. If you want to set up the basic listen server, it shouldn't be too incredibly difficult. Oh, Jesus Christ! All right, yeah, I'm stupid. Yeah, let's make the JavaScript to call this thing, but then let's never actually call it. That'll do it. Yeah, and I think there's some beacon broadcast discovery stuff for like if you're right next to each other in the same network where you can find each other. I think the shooter game example project uses kind of a broadcast discovery for that, so it works. But the big issue with having dedicated not having dedicated servers is setting up port forwarding. So, like if you have two people and they have their own home networks, because literally everybody has their own home network. It's not like it used to be in '95 or something where you got one phone line and one machine and that's it. Everybody and their dog is on a network. It may be multiple networks. Like even my mom has like 3 different frickin' routers sitting there. It's just stupid. So yeah, even if you just punch in your random IP, you can't reach that machine on the other side. You need to have what's called NAT punch through in order to do that. Because basically the routers on each side have to kind of send information back and forth to each other for it to work. So for you to actually do NAT punch through, not only does the host has to know the client, and you have to have them enter that IP address, and it'll have to send like pings to that router. That's the gateway to their internet. And at the same time, you have to have that other client get the host address and send pings to get it to work. The best way to do it is to have one, like a very cheap server that can do UDP broadcast stuff as a proxy, so that like you can both reach this kind of central server, and you can say like, hey, I want to connect to this other guy, let him know about it so he can start pinging me. And that can be a pretty simple, anonymous server where you're just doing stuff. And use like HTTP stuff, because the HTTP stuff for Unreal is real simple. Well, a man-in-the-middle like hookup server like that should be pretty easy to write. It doesn't even have to be in, and it should be pretty cheap too. I mean, you could host something like that on AWS for like $10 a month or something. Like it doesn't have to be super complicated. All right, so it looks like we've got our admin commands, but our kick is not letting us kick. So let's go look at why. Yeah, and if you have anything that customers rely on, I would just go get it hosted somewhere. It's relatively cheap. $10 a month or something like that, and it'll just be there forever. All right, so this is going to be on the player controller. All right, so we got remove bots. So if we are a server admin, Well, it shouldn't. The first thing is it shouldn't be telling me like these are bots. It should know that it's a bot. So it's going to be one of those things. Okay, so get player controller, client you are booted. Yeah, okay, so that's just not going to work. So if I reload the UI, well, I guess, yeah, if we just look right there, we have the player icon indicator as opposed to the bot icon indicator, so I never noticed that that was wrong. Yeah, well, if it's just a small group of people, then you can probably walk a few of them through the port forwarding setups. That's what we've done with a few people who wanted to host their own servers. Is we just just get on Discord and walk them through, because it's if you know the right terms, you can walk somebody through it without too much trouble. Because like, all right, just get your Wi-Fi password, get your other stuff, and just do this, and it works. All right, so user data is bot. All right, so we're getting the game state. On player added, on player removed. Where is the player state defined? Probably in the player state.h. I mean, supposedly isBot is replicated. Yeah, you should have no trouble then. Alright, it's not going to be a bot because it's not actually a bot. It's like a remote player. So it's going to be on player added. Announce the game state. Alright. Isbot is host. Player proxy actor. It's a net player. Alright. So our player proxy is inside of character, player proxy actor. The player proxy actor has a replicated net AI controller. Net player controller, net AI. Alright, that should work. Is bot player is a function. Is bot. Alright. Basically, what I need is an actual isbot player on the player proxy actor. That should probably be up here. I'm gonna need to remember there's some screwed up stuff here. Because on the server it's a bot, but it looks like on the client right now they're all remote players. So it's not a bot, it's a remote player that's a bot. Ugh. Gross. So let's see, what's my sprint looking like at the moment? Today's Tuesday, yeah. So you're trying to get the position of a flipbook, replace it with another flipbook, and then play it the rest of the way from there. Well, the flipbook component, it should be that you just change the flipbook because I wrote an animation controller component and update animation state data. Basically, what I do is I've got a post update tick. So this is after all the logic is run, and basically I have like a current state and a wanted state. So somebody will say like, oh, I want to play the jump flipbook, and I want to play it at a specific speed. So, and I've got some logic in here for reversed or not, but basically it's and if we actually interrupt the animation, or if we're just like, oh well, play this other one but change the speed, there is like set playback position, play from start, play from end, reverse, those things. And so you can like get the flipbook length in frames to get, you know, total frames and everything like that. And you can set the animation duration to change the speed, and yeah, so you should be able to just call like set playback position after calling set flipbook and stuff like that, and you'll be good to go. So yeah, maybe some of these functions also I may have modified them a little bit. Like if you're trying to blend one flipbook to the other, you can't really blend sprites. You could kind of fade them in on top of each other and crap like that. Alright, so you have sprite sockets. So you have an object attached to a socket, like the hand. Yeah, so you should just be able to switch out with ground attack, right, and set it to like frame 5 and keep playing. So it should just be set flipbook to the next one, and you know, get playback position and then set playback position and all that. But I don't know what that does to the sockets. I don't know if the sprite socket stuff is all screwed up or not. You might have to like grab the new socket and re-socket the weapon after setting the flipbook or something, because they're kind of their own thing. Yeah, the paper 2D stuff is it's kind of screwy, and there's definitely a few of these things where I had to get animation events actually working properly, and to do that, you got to sacrifice a few goats because they do not work out of the box. Yeah, that's true. If the socket exists, you'd expect it to still work. I just never make assumptions. I also haven't been using the socket stuff. And when I have, I've been just referencing the socket directly, like get socket, whatever. Because usually when you're dealing with socketed items, you really need to be careful about when you update things so that you don't move something after something else has already moved. It looks like they're registered as bots. Awesome. Alright, so now that's working for us. Alright, so we can now run commands on dedicated servers. And I haven't played on the test map with bots on a dedicated server. Crap. Goddamn bots. Get in there. Get in the fucking goal, you piece of shit. Oh yeah, like well, I assume if you got a whole bunch of stuff like that. Alright, good. At least the bots can score. They're better than me in my own game. Yeah, if I was making like an RPG system where I had a whole bunch of different weapons and a whole bunch of crazy stuff like that, I would probably make it. If I was making it 2D, I'd probably make it like a whole rig. So, like your chests and arms, and or like kind of like the torso and above would be a completely separate flipbook from the feet or something like that. And I'd probably have the dude kind of move like a tank to make that look good. So jumping would be, you don't move the upper torso or any of that crap. He just like moves his feet, and maybe the torso moves down, but it doesn't actually like do too much. And then all the attacks and everything are like separate. I'd probably cheat. Alright, so dedicated server works. We have commands. That works properly. Excellent. So that's some basic dedicated server configuration stuff. And that's pretty much okay. So we need the admin password for if it's not off, but I think I've had enough frustration for today. Let's check on that build. Still going. Looks like it's working on the installer for the... Let's see. Yeah, it's working on the installer for the X64 version of the game, so that's legit. So it's pretty much done. You're worried about flipbooks tearing at the seam? Yeah, that's true. Or Z fighting with each other at exactly the wrong spot. You know, that would be pretty nasty looking. Are you using the orthographic camera or using the perspective camera for your game? Because we're using perspective. Yeah, it'll probably get screwed up then. Then really what you'd have to do, if you wanted those to blend seamlessly together, you'd have to, in the material, have like a larger... Yeah, you're screwed for that. Anyway, I think I'm going to be, like, I haven't had any food today, and worked for 4.5 hours? Yeah, that's probably good. You have a multicam system? Oh, yeah, like, I made what I called the sandwich cam quite a while ago, which was basically like different scene captures with different geometries and stuff like that. So I had like an orthographic camera for like the running track and everything, and then like perspective cameras for like cool backgrounds at different fields of view. But it got complicated, didn't perform very well, and got rid of it. So I wasn't very happy with that. So we ended up just being like, screw it, we're making a 3D world. The problem with the orthographic camera is that lighting and shadows are completely broken. Like, they just do not work properly. The math is just wrong. So you're kind of screwed for orthographic camera if you want shadows. Alright. Well, I'm going to call this here, I believe. So I'll be jumping out, going getting food. So thanks for sticking around, and actually I need to add one more thing to this guy, which is I need to add the updated setup.bat to the bone. That's going to be in, put it in like scripts, Windows, no, server, there it is. Updated batch file for config creation. Bam. Yeah, if you what is Adam's Discord channel? Let's see if he's got that written down. Anyway, yeah, if you're interested in that development, you probably also want to take a look at Adam's channel, which I think I posted earlier. Because when he's streaming, I'm probably working in the background or something else, helping out, so all that. Anyway, I gotta get out of here, so have a good day and enjoy the rest of your week. Goodbye.